Returning now to Ukraine and what could happen next after a peace deal in the Middle East. Joining me for more is Diane Francis, Senior Fellow at the Atlantic Council. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Volodymyr Zelensky says it's important not to lose momentum for peace. As we sit here today, is there tangible momentum for Ukraine, or does this Gaza peace deal just leave Kyiv in the same position as before?
Well, it does and it doesn't. What I find interesting is that what Trump did to accomplish a peace deal between Israel and Gaza was kind of what he's been about in terms of solving the Russia-Ukraine. But, you know, for instance, he essentially said to Benjamin Netanyahu, you don't have any cards, which is, he didn't use that framework, but this is kind of behind the scenes what he did to him, and said, you don't have the cards. You know, you can't keep this war. You may be beating Hamas, but you can never win this war, and that sort of thing. And so that, I think, helped push the Israeli side towards saying, well, we're doing okay, but we can't. He also sort of chastised them for their techniques and their tactics, saying that you may be winning the ground war, but you're losing public opinion because so many civilians are dying. So there are some parallels, but, you know, obviously Israel is not Ukraine and vice versa. And any attempt he's made, to line up Ukraine to be more willing to capitulate hasn't worked. And in fact, Ukraine has turned around and proven that it has cards, and it's bombing the heck out of the oil facilities in Russia, thank goodness. So there is parallel, but, you know, his next big challenge is going to be trying to stop the war in Ukraine. And there's no question that he's not going to run from that. I mean, he will take up that challenge, and now it'll be very different.
So you're confident that President Trump will not let Ukraine lay low, if you like, now? He will want to end that war?
He definitely wants to end the war. Everybody wants to end wars. And, you know, it's interesting that, you know, the only sort of crack in Putin's armor has been the fact that Trump's wife sent a personal letter to Putin about how he's kidnapped all these thousands of Ukrainian children. And a few of the children have dribbled back. It's a big blow to any kind of justification that Putin likes to tell the world he has in terms of what he's doing to Ukraine. The other thing, of course, has changed, and it does also affect Poland dramatically, is, you know, his constant attacks over Europe. I mean, he's already started the war against Europe, but the Europeans don't want to call it that.
Now, of course, President Zelensky is meeting with Donald Trump at the White House on Friday. Trump also telling us this week that, quote, it's time to get Russia done. So in line with your comments just a few moments ago, what are you expecting from that meeting? I mean, are we looking at concrete steps, this idea of tomahawks given to Kyiv to launch into Russia, or will it just be handshakes and promises?
Well, I think the tomahawks, he's dangling that as a pressure point. Germany has long-range missiles too, and they're not doing it. I mean, there is this concern because, unlike Gaza, you're not dealing with some terrorist group that's funded by somebody. You know, he has nuclear weapons, and he pulls out the nuclear threat every time the Tomahawk missiles are mentioned. Although it's kind of silly because the Americans are indirectly attacking Russia anyway through Ukraine by giving all their help. But I think that he will, in fact, and he said recently, he hasn't made up his mind yet, but he is definitely seriously considering unleashing the Tomahawk attacks and giving them to the Ukrainians. And I think he's going to do some other pressure points. I think he's going to hopefully get involved in sanctions. And remember, he's also been chastising the Europeans who are still buying Russian oil and natural gas. And so he should. And in actual fact, I think he should slap tariffs on Hungary and on Slovakia for taking Russian stuff, and any other European countries that are. And so he's going to get tough now. This will be a focus, and he's got his wife behind him, you know, saying, but the children, you know, it's such a hideous regime. It's doing some horrible things. So I hope anyway. I hope that this will make a big difference, and that Ukraine will have more weaponry and a louder voice, and Russia will be challenged with enormous sanctions by the Americans.
So you're saying Donald Trump likely to get tough now. I mean, is there a case for Vladimir Putin to be nervous now that Washington has also seemingly ticked off the Middle East and Russia's invasion of Ukraine? Well, that's next on Donald Trump's focus list.
Nothing makes Putin nervous. Putin is a zealot. He's crazy. He's on a mission. He thinks Ukraine belongs to him. And he doesn't care how many soldiers die. He doesn't face electoral rejection. He controls all the oligarchs. He controls the economy. He controls the government. He has nothing internally to be frightened of unless someone tries to kill him and is capable of doing it. I mean, that is always but I'm sure he's got guards all over the place. So he's not frightened. He's just waiting for the next move. What is going to be Donald Trump's chess move? And I think Donald's chess move has to be no more nice guy, no more he's my friend, no more he was my friend. Now it's got to be he's a monster, he steals children, kick him out of the UN, and really go, and then the sanctions. And he's going to have to do that. I just don't see any way around it. He tried to be nice, but, Putin kicked him in the teeth and embarrassed him.
Now, we're running out of time, but briefly, how much does this talk of the Nobel Peace Prize and a potential recognition for Donald Trump, how much does that play into his psyche?
Hey, he has a big ego. He likes to have it stroked. I thought it was a particularly incredible move by the woman from Venezuela who won the Peace Prize, and she dedicated it to peacemakers, the people of Venezuela, and to Donald Trump for his peace efforts. That, to me, was not only classy, but I think valid, because he has been trying. And the other thing that I find is interesting is it certainly means the Americans are probably going to go for regime change in Venezuela.
If the Gaza ceasefire holds, do you think Donald Trump will get that Peace Prize?
I think he would be in the running, but I think that, the ceasefire is just one thing. It's going to be tricky, and it depends on what the other side does, and also the hard line in Israel. But he's softened them up, again, to use the analogy, like Zelensky. He went to Netanyahu and said, you don't have the cards. And he said in his speech, look how tiny Israel is. Do you think you can take on the whole neighborhood? Come on, get along with everybody and don't build a fortress. So that's kind of his approach to keep that on track. And I think it will be kept on track. But then there's still the problem of Iran and Russia.
Diane Francis, Senior Fellow at the Atlantic Council, thank you again for your time.
You're welcome.
And that's all for World News Tonight. Do stay with us here on TVP World. I'm Dahmen. Good night.